What's my favorite thing about playing in a band? Man, I just love making music with my buddies, being creative, especially doing original music's great. You know, and that feeling of accomplishment. You know, you go do your first gig and you survive, and everybody dug it. It's really cool, and just hanging out with my buds after, feeling good about it. You know, that's the best thing about being in a band. Oh man, pocket. You know, when I was a kid, I just thought if it made you want to dance, it had a great pocket, and that was cool. But when I was in high school, I got to see James Brown, man, and the dude laid out the pocket. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't believe it. It was like something it's like I'd never heard music before. And ever since then, I've kind of been trying to find out, you know, how do they do that? What's the magic thing to do to really make that happen? And it's been a lifelong pursuit. I've been real lucky to play with some great guys. And, man, when it's there, it clicks, you feel it. Everybody in the place knows you found that pocket, you know. So. When's the moment I knew I wanted to play in a band? When I was in junior high, I went to Opryland, USA, and I had a seat where I could see the guys in the pit orchestra. And at the time, I played a lot of trumpet, ended up going to college as a trumpet major. I could see the lead trumpet player. I could see him. I had a great shot looking right at him during the whole show, and I could see him turning pages and working his mutes and thinking about what he was going to do. And you could tell all the high notes coming. I got to get ready for that and all this kind of stuff. And just the concentration he had and the dedication to just nailing it every time. And you could feel there were live players. There was probably a band with 15 people in it. Man, I just knew that was something I had to do.
Is it on the body or is it on the shirt?
It's on my body, but...
Let's take the shirt off.
Okay. What's your favorite thing about playing blues without a shirt on?
Favorite thing about playing the blues?
What is this question?
What is your favorite thing about playing the blues? What is your favorite thing about the blues?
Okay, what's my favorite thing about the blues? Man, I don't know. You know, there's just such emotion to the blues. And I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan one time, and he was just sweating like crazy. He was all over the stage, and you could just see it on his face. He was living this thing, man. And that really just translated to everybody in the audience. You just knew. You knew what he was feeling. You felt it too. He just laid it right out there and gave it to you. It was his life, you know. And that's the best thing about the blues is just that it's so real and there's so much emotion to that. And it's so expressive, the singers and the guitar players. Anyway, I think the blues is great. I love it. Well, I'm a recording guy. If I were on a desert island, the one piece of gear I would want would be my awesome Neve preamp, but that wouldn't do me much good without just a good old guitar, you know what I mean? This Martin is great. I love probably an acoustic guitar. Maybe, I don't know what kind, just something really good, something that would be good in the salt air.
Favorite album?
Oh, wow. What's my favorite album? Gosh, there's so many. I could probably name 10. It's really kind of like, what's my favorite album at that moment in my life? In 1986, it was Peter Gabriel's So, or, you know, at other times in my life, it might have been Abbey Road, the Beatles, of course, the Beatles. Gosh, you know, there was a time where I wore out that first John Mayer record. I'm a big Pat Metheny fan. There were moments where a couple of those records meant the world to me, or Sean Colvin, A Few Small Repairs. I'm sure I'm leaving out something really important to me, but it's really about that time in your life, you know. What does it mean to you at that moment? You know, and I've really studied music. I've had a great time listening deeply to as much music as I could, especially when I was in college, and there's so many albums that have meant a lot to me. I don't know if I could just pick one, you know.
What is my favorite thing about playing in a band? I would have to say that playing in a band, there's really nothing like it. It's one of those things where you get a chance to express yourself, but you get to do it in congruence with other bandmates, other musicians. a lot of times from just different backgrounds and um, different places in life and different skill sets. And it's really cool when you can all come together and actually gel and create music and create an expression that you really can't do any other way. Everybody gets together, and especially when it's all working, and when you're doing things like we're talking about in this course, playing in the pocket, getting into a groove, and just syncing with everybody and playing off of each other, it really takes it to another level, and it's a really exciting thing. To me, playing in the pocket is, especially from a keys standpoint, when you lock in with the bass, you lock in with the drums, everybody's playing in sync, everybody's really nailing it, they're straight on with the backbeat, and any little groove, anything that you're doing with the keys, you're right in there, playing right in with, if it's an eighth note thing, if you're doing some syncopation, trying to fill it out, trying to make the band sound, not trying to make myself sound good, I'm trying to make the band sound better, I'm trying to make the band sound good in what they're doing, and making them sound better. So playing in the pocket is simply laying back with the groove, playing in sync with the rest of the band, hitting it with the bass, hitting it with the snare, hitting it with the kick drum, and just staying right there in the pocket. My favorite thing about the blues is probably the blues scale itself, the feel of it, the syncopation, just the flexibility that you have with that type of music, being able to solo, comping with the one hand, soloing with another, staying in that groove. I love the feel of blues music. A lot of what we're talking about within the pocket that kind of originates in that blues style. And I love playing the blues and playing in the pocket with the other guys, and just being able to do something that's definitely out of the ordinary. It's not a straight scale. It's a little bit different. It's got a little bit of grit, a little bit of grime to it, and I really love the feel of the blues. I would have to say that probably one of the most pivotal moments in my life and my musical endeavors was going to see a Paul McCartney concert back in the late 90s. The Trip in the Live Fantastic was the name of the tour. And he came out and he did it right. He was playing the football stadiums. He was drawing crowds of 100,000 people. He had the light shows, the lasers, he had the smoke going, and he had a fantastic band that they were right there. They were solid. And it was timeless music that they were playing. Paul McCartney, obviously the Beatles, and he was a very instrumental songwriter as well as player with them. And you guys know, you've played in bands, you know who Paul McCartney is, you know who the Beatles are. At any rate, that was very pivotal for me, and that just really solidified for me, in my mind, that this is something I really want to do. It's a lot of fun. It looks like they're having a great time up there. You know, wow, if we could do something that even was a fraction of what they're doing here, it just was something that was great for me, and that made me want to do it.
All right, so now we're in the drum room, and I'm going to take some time to break this groove down that we were playing in the rehearsal side. This groove is, I want to speak a little bit about this, talk a little bit about this groove. This is a really cool groove. It's a lot of fun to play. I have a great time playing this. It's really popular in songs like old Motown stuff. I heard it through the grapevine, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, Can't Get Next to You. Those kind of things have this kind of bouncy, fun groove. Roll With It by Steve Winwood is a newer example. And I'm sure you can go on and on as you've recognized it as we were playing it. I'm going to take some time to break this down. This kind of groove is 8 notes on the hi-hat. It's a mid-tempo R&B. 8 notes on the hi-hat, 2 and 4 on the snare. This is called a backbeat, 2 and 4. 1 and 3 and. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, 2. I'm going to play just a little bit of the groove here. Start the handy dandy click for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the groove. The hi-hat and the ride cymbal are the places that you're going to be able to get the grooviness out of this, the pocket out of this. The bass drum, the bass player is going to kind of work around what you're doing on the bass drum. Snare drum is there just as I don't know, a hand clap spot for the audience. I don't know, dancing. Don't let friends don't let friends clap on 1 and 3. But so the hi-hat deal with that, to get the bounciness out of the groove, it's really cool to use different parts of the stick to get strong beats and weak beats, okay? That is where you're going to get this kind of bouncy feel. Your snare drum is just going to sit there and play the 2 and 4 and bass drum, like I was saying. I'll just give you an example of that without the hi-hat so you can see how the hi-hat incorporates it and can just change the whole atmosphere of the groove, all right? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the bottom of the groove. Where it gets funky now is on the hi-hat. Our little friend, Mr. Hi-Hat. Right here, we're going to use the shaft on the downbeats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to use the tip of the stick on the upbeats, on the ands. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and when you put it together, you end up with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I've developed kind of a bouncy. You can see it's already getting funky. It's already getting bouncy, groovy, pockety. All right, so let's play. I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to use a little slower click here, and I'm going to slow it down and play the groove with the hi-hat, giving us the little sauce, and then I'm going to play it with it just straight so you can hear the difference. I'm going to slow it down. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to get it funky. All right, did you hear that? How it sounded just a little different? That is the groove. That is the strong beats, weak beats. That's your groove. Okay, ride cymbal, same kind of thing. It's what you're doing with your hi-hat hand, only we're going to use a little bit of the bell, and then we're going to come in the body of the cymbal. You'll use the bell on the downbeats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bell on the downbeats. The body of the cymbal on the ands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right? I like to play kind of mid, closer to the bell, but kind of, there's usually a sweet spot on the ride cymbal, and this cymbal kind of is right in there. All right, I'm going to play a little bit on the ride cymbal, slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play it straight right through here. Okay, so another thing we can do here is play the switch them around and play the body of the cymbal on the beat, the bell on the ands. Same thing with the hi-hat. Anything you do with this hand, you can move it around. That's where you're going to get the variation in the groove, where you're going to get the funkiness, where you're going to get the pocket. It's all in exploring these areas, because like I said, your 2 and 4, your backbeat on your snare drum and your bass drum will stay pretty much constant. There's different variations in different songs of how the drummers decided to play this groove, but pretty much, you know, you're going to have your 1 and 3, 2 and 4 kind of deal. So let's listen to a little bit of playing the bell of the cymbal on the and the body on the ride, on the body on the beat. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So see there, the strong beats were on the and instead of on the downbeat. Kind of gives it a different little feel there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some time, I'm going to throw this loop in here, what I would like to do, and I'll play a little bit of this up the tempo. That way you guys can, that way y'all. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's talk a little bit about where and why we use the hi-hat and ride cymbal. This kind of groove we like to start and solidify where the tempo is, what path we're going on. That's your job as a drummer. So we start with the hi-hat because it's a short sound. It dynamically, you have a lot you can do. You can bring it down to the point where it's right there's your groove. Everybody in the band knows. When a band's starting out, that's a big thing, is tempo-wise and unsure. As a drummer, your job is to know where the tempo is so you can lead the rest of the guys, so they trust you to help lead them through. Now, as we move through the song and we come to pre-chorus, ready to move into the chorus, you can stay on the hi-hat and then start opening the hi-hat a little bit to get a little more wash as it's moving and building dynamics and excitement. So we start with a tighter hi-hat, keep the dynamics low, get out of the way of the vocals, start building it with a washy sound, then over to the ride cymbal wide open. With a wash, you can get a little more syncopated on the ride cymbal, play around, do some different variations. That's going to also help propel and make a groove bouncy. Okay, so let me show you how we might move through a song with the hi-hat tight, opening it up, moving to the ride cymbal, and then coming back and bringing it down. This is all about dynamics, starting down, bringing it up, bringing it down. We'll cover more dynamics later on in the chorus, but right now this is just a little pre-roll to the idea of getting dynamics, not only to make the groove, solidify the groove, but to make the band, to make the song feel more exciting, to help the band know where we're going. So as a leader, this is where you're headed, all right? I'm going to turn on the loop machine and we'll hit one. 1, 2, 3, 4.